Welcome, everyone. This is the NBA Triple Double Show, sponsored by Sports Memo TV. I'm your host, John Ryan. And as always, my co host, Ronald Cabang, is in the house. He is a very astute professional sports bettor. And after all, he wouldn't be on the show with me if he was not. Welcome to the show, Ronald. How did things go for you last night? I actually lost a total. I'm now 16-5 with NBA totals, but I played under. That did
Yeah,
not win.
man, I did terrible yesterday. I went 0-2 in the NBA, but I did make it up in the WNBA, so it all balanced out in the end. I don't know. The total yesterday was tricky just because obviously the Celtics they shot extremely well in that first half, but as far as pace, the amount of field goal attempts that were attempted and all that stuff, I feel like it was still in under type pace. They just shot extremely well. Can't do anything about it.
No, you can't. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they like to say somewhere. I don't know where that place is, but somewhere they say that. But seriously, we have a rather big game tonight, especially for the Dallas Mavericks. And much as was the case, we were talking about how Boston wouldn't have to make adjustments to have the opportunity to win game two, which they did in convincing fashion. I think the same thing
Hmm.
applies even more so to the Dallas Mavericks, who seem to be overwhelmed, scoring 87 points, and they had just 12 assists in game one. And just to get things started off here, the Mavericks are in their playoff games since 2011. They are 2-6 straight up, 4-4 against the spread, including a 7-1 over/under record for 88% winning under bets over the last 10 playoff seasons when they've had just 12 assists in a game. So it's hard to believe that you could have that few assists and still cover the spread at 4-4. But the point is, straight up, is what the Dallas Mavericks need to address tonight. They could care less about the spread.
Yeah.
Overall, playoff teams are 21-19 straight up, 22-18 against the spread, but 24-15-1 over under, favoring the under, and that's 62% under bets over the last 10 playoff seasons in games following a game in which they had 12 or fewer assists. I think they get more than 12 assists tonight, but I don't think that's the whole piece of the pie that's going to get them a chance to win this game in the final minutes. I don't see this being a blowout like last night. What do you see in this matchup, Ronald?
Well, yeah, this one's a tough one because the big difference here between the Mavs situation and the Boston Celtics situation is that Mavs were at full strength in game one and still and lost the weight in the fashion that they did. Boston was able to get Smart back and Horford back, who missed game one, and that was such a huge impact, especially defensively. In this situation, they have to adjust in a different way. They're not going to be able to adjust by having more players or key impact players coming back. So that's one thing to think about here. They're just going to have to adjust um, in a different fashion. Is what I'm trying to say here. It's not the same game as yesterday. Obviously, not the same situation here. They're just gonna have to play better as a team. That's what it is. And like you mentioned, only 12 assists, and that's not showing a team. That's not being a team player as far as Doncic and Brunson being able to facilitate the way that they normally do, especially in the regular season. When it comes to trends and things like that, you mentioned, they really just, these teams worry just about straight up, right? They care less about the against the spread. They're not the bettors in this situation. They just want to win because they want to make it to the NBA finals and things like that. And one situation that the Mavs do well in is revenge situations. They're 14-5 straight up, 15-4 against the spread in revenge situations against teams with a winning record. The problem is though in the playoffs they're actually 0-2 straight up and 0-2 against the spread in that situation, but 2-0 to the over. Both games were to the Suns. So even in the regular season they were strong in the revenge spots here, but in the playoffs it seems like a different atmosphere here, and it doesn't go the same way. From the Warriors perspective, 25-6 straight up, 16-13-2 against the spread as home favorites in conference games. And if you add that they're playing a team with a winning record, it goes to 14-2, 11-4-1 against the spread. So they dominate in these situations as home favorites. And in the playoffs, it has continued. So 7-0 straight up, 5-2 against the spread, averaging about 116 per game and allowing 100 per game in the playoffs. So one thing that has translated over to the playoffs from the regular season for the Warriors, and one thing that the Mavs did well in the regular season has not in the playoffs. So one way that I'm looking here is towards the Warriors. I haven't placed a bet on it, but that's the way that I'm leaning here.
I'm leaning the same way. I just don't see Dallas being able to overcome the domination. In fact, another little golden nugget here from the analytics. They were outscored by 10 points in the paint. They were outscored by 10 points in the fast break category of points scored. So, playoff teams that are priced as a road underdog that got outscored by 10 points or more in the paint, 10 or more points in fast break in their previous game, 9 and 38 straight up, and 19 and 28 against the spread for 40% winning bets in playoff games over the last 10 seasons. So that alone right there, I think, I mean, how do you overcome double digit deficits in those two categories?
Mm-hmm.
That rings true in that locker room too, I would think. I mean, they really got it handed to them. And they can't, the other thing Dallas can't do tonight, positively cannot do if they want to win this game, is they can't have twice as many 3-point shots as 2-point shots during the first half. And that is what they actually had. And they just kept launching the threes and missing them. And
Mm-hmm.
I get the whole thing, live and die by the three, but don't throw yourself on the sword in the first quarter when you know you're not making the threes. I mean, you got to have some kind of backup plan, especially in road games, because we talked about the regression of Dallas and their 3-point shooting in the show on Wednesday, and lo and behold, it happened. And it's a lot of it is different sights, the sightings that the players see in the background. It could be anything from the different colors of the crowd because they're wearing the colors of their team, to what things are behind the backboard, which is glass, obviously. And I
Mm-hmm.
do think that was a factor. I don't know if it'll be a factor tonight again, but we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes a
So
lot of sense. And you
let
can
me
you can
see.
see too if you watch the game, game one, the second quarter is the quarter that the Mavs kind of controlled the pace, and also that was the only quarter they won in that game. And if you actually watched it, they were attacking the paint a little bit more often in that second quarter. So they were successful when they went to the paint, and then they kind of regressed and went back to shooting the three ball more often, and that's kind of what led them to their demise, if you want to say that. In this,
Yep.
especially in the second half, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, if they attack the paint like they did in the second quarter of that game, it's really going to be a different story today. A lot closer, but regardless, I still think that the Warriors take it tonight.
Hey, my little trivia question here. I'll let this be fun for the chat room. Maybe the chat room can put your answers in the chat room there in the comment sections, uh, and we can see how many of the four you can get. But with a win tonight, the Warriors will have won the 200th playoff game of their franchise career. They'll be the fifth team to ever do that. Can you name the other four? I actually did.
well,
I have no way of proving that to anybody, but it's the obvious names. Well,
Lakers, Bulls,
Bulls or not, believe it or not.
really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yep.
that's interesting.
So that I got a little lucky
Celtics,
because I
right?
named the four. I
Celtics.
wrote, I literally wrote them down, and then I looked it up on Sports Reference. Five Dot
Is,
Warriors says repeat.
Celtics?
Celtics are one of the teams. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and then a team just south of them a little bit.
Oh man, I can't think of it.
76ers.
Oh, Philly. What?
All right, this
Okay,
is you got to remember Philly goes back,
that's true.
a long way. Uh, let's see. M. Ja says Lakers, Boston, Knicks, Philly. That's three of them. The Knicks are incorrect.
Oh,
Five Dot Warrior says Knicks too, but very good answer, but not correct. The fourth one only stood out because I have such admiration for this coach that has been around for decades. That's a hint, and he's still.
Spurs? Oh, well, he's not coaching anymore.
I think he's still coaching. My brain went blank. Legendary coach. You want another hint?
Yeah, let's go.
Located in the Midwest. I mean, that could be Minnesota. It could be Texas. It could be, even Illinois.
Has the chat said it yet? Let's see here.
Here's the answer. James S. got it, and also S. Warrior. It is the San Antonio Spurs. So it's the Spurs, the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Lakers. So the Warriors can join them tonight with a win. I doubt very much whether head coach Kerr is even mentioning this fact, but I've got to think they know it. But is it really that big a deal for them that would be a distraction? I don't think so, because they know they're gonna win the 200th at some point. I don't think Dallas is going to win 4 in a row here. So I think it's just kind of a cool trivia question. I don't think it's even a factor in the handicap. So what should we make our best bet? I have a couple of player props to add.
Yeah.
It could be possible. I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm taking Klay Thompson over 3.5 3-pointers. That cashed. I don't even remember how quickly that cashed last in game on Wednesday. It was pretty quick. I mean, it was before halftime. Klay Thompson over 3.5 3-pointers made plus 120 at BetMGM. Steph Curry over 3.5 3-pointers minus 130. Laying some wood there. Don't like it, but I do think he gets 4 or more. And then Finney Smith under 11.5 points and assists plus 100 at BetMGM. You like those or you don't like them?
They look good to me. I think. I mean, obviously the Klay. What was it? What was his prop?
Over 3.5 3-pointers plus 120 money, which I don't get why it's plus 120.
Okay.
I don't know. I would ever make a prop bet involving the names Curry or Thompson that are on the Warriors at plus money ever.
Yeah,
I would make the number 4.5. I mean 2.5, and then make it heavy wood. Like if you want to bet over 2.5 3-pointers, you're going to lay like 180.
Yeah.
The public's not going to bet under in these prop bets, and neither am I actually. So
yeah, I think usually in the playoffs, what I learned is they kind of inflate the numbers because they want more points, they want more action, right? So typically sports bettors are taking the over, so they inflate it to give them a little bit of value towards the under. That's one thing that was taught to me by a buddy of mine, and I kind of noticed that too. I mean, like if you look at what happened to the Mavericks, pretty much everyone went under their props in game 1, so it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So what we make our best bet for game 2 here? It seems like I actually lean to the under in this game too. There's some interesting angles backing that up as well. But I think the Warriors maybe first half.
Warriors early is probably a good look. I mean, they dominated that first quarter by 10 in game 1. Everyone's probably thinking Mavs are going to come out of the gate pretty strong after a tough loss like that, but it might be something where they got to pick up a little bit of momentum before they can make some damage.
Yeah, that wasn't just like a loss. I mean, that was scoring under 90 points, getting double digit in fast break points in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty humiliating loss even for a professional sports team.
Yeah, it's a crazy. I mean, just like the Miami Heat yesterday, right? Like how do you bounce back off of a loss like that, especially in a playoff game?
The other thing that sticks out here that I think is makes it more than a lean is the fact that the Warriors are 9-1 against the number off 2 consecutive double-digit wins this season. Warriors are 21-16 straight up, 18-9 against the spread for 67% in the playoffs, and having won each of the last 2 games by double digits. It's hard to go against that, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually a pretty good one there.
yeah. So thanks to everybody in the chat room here. You guys are pretty active. It's a shame that we don't have like a 30 or 45-minute show going today, but we only have the one game, unfortunately, to talk about.
Yeah.
Clay not going to hit that. I guess that must be a Mavericks fan, Ninja 13. I would guess. Maybe not. Maybe an objective observer. If Golden State can do it, Miami can. Well, I'm not sure if he's talking about 200 wins or whether Miami wins Game 3, but the Game 3 tomorrow, Saturday, that is going to be a great game to watch. Period.
Mhm.
Primetime TV tomorrow night. I know what I'll be doing. But other than that, I don't
Yeah,
have
that's gonna be a
anything
good
else to
game.
add here. Anything going on at Sports Memo, Ronald?
Yeah, I do have that deal. They set up a really great special for me. The 199 till the through for NBA and WNBA, through the WNBA finals. So I don't know when that is. Probably like yeah, it's gonna be a few months. But it equals to $1.28 per day for both WNBA and NBA plays. So that's a pretty good deal there. Like we mentioned earlier before, I we just found out that I was number one all time in the NBA at Sports Memo, so that's a cool thing to have on my resume there. But yeah, so that's what's going on at Sports Memo. I'll probably have two to three WNBA plays today. They have a nice slate here today. NBA wise, this one's a tough one. We'll see if I get to the window with something. But at this current moment, they're just leans right now. Nothing actually putting a bet
Yep.
on.
I have a 4%er up. I have NHL. I have WNBA. Everything is loaded up. Baseball, and then I am going to have a 10 unit release tomorrow, Saturday.
Nice.
So that is actually loaded up now, and they're super rare, super rare. It's only the third one in the last 12 months. So obviously a game that I like quite a bit, and so do the models, so do the analytics, and
Hmm.
hopefully it'll come through. We don't win every single time, just most of the time with those. So anyway, Ronald, thanks for your time. I'm going to be joining Wager Talk co-founder Marco D'Angelo with a live show here at 1 o'clock, 9 minutes from now. He's going to give his complete breakdown of the Preakness Stakes, and I'm going to ask him if that filly named Secret Oath. I love that name, Secret Oath. That's a cool name for a horse, a filly.
Yeah,
Nonetheless,
yeah.
it's only been 6 fillies to ever win the Preakness, so it's gonna be fun to talk to him about that and a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyway, we'll see you guys on Monday for the next edition of the NBA Triple Double. Make sure you follow our Twitter feeds for any guidance and analytics we put out for the games on Saturday and Sunday. Until Monday, continue to bet with your head, not over it, and may all the wins be yours.